Welcome back to the show, everyone. So we're doing something a little special on the show today. I am stacking the guests this week and for weeks coming up because I didn't finish what I was saying, but I have polyps on my vocal cords and I had a hemorrhage and my vocal cords are bleeding and have been damaged for many, many, many years, and I may never even remember what it was like to not have damaged vocal cords. I don't know what happened to me, but at some point something happened and my vocal cords I've been operating with damaged vocal cords for my whole entire career. So I'm very excited. I'm getting surgery September 6th or 8th, I think. And so we'll figure out what to do on the podcast for that, but I will be back better than ever, and I'm not scared. I'm not in pain. It's just the way it sounds, and I have to be on vocal rest. And I know I don't sound any different than I have before, but that's because I have been walking on broken legs my entire career, and I continue to, but I'm getting them fixed.
You might as well go all out if you're getting the surgery.
I was thinking of getting like a facelift at the same time, and also because I have to take 3 weeks off where I don't talk at all.
Yeah.
And so I can't do any work. Essentially, I can't do anything. Please don't tell my book agent that. I literally can't do anything because I don't want to write a book during this time. I really want the time off. And I was thinking of getting everything I want to get done.
Yeah.
Well, BBLs are out now because Kim Kardashian's getting all her fat sucked out now, and now it's now my ass is back in. Oh. And right when my flat ass is becoming in again, I'm getting an ass. It's like nothing is working. Okay, so I'm bringing in guests all this week, and up until my surgery, we'll have guests, and then once I have my surgery, we'll see what happens. And you can send your flowers to 4642. I'm just kidding. That was close, right? Andrew looked at me like, "You're gonna give the real address?" It's like, no. I mean,
I don't know. You're real into flowers now.
I really do like flowers. But so today, I also am. I'm not able to do press anymore. I'm not able to do interviews. Nothing extra. I mean, I have a contract with iHeartRadio. I have a contract with certain TV appearances, so I am still keeping those, and those are the only times I am talking in my life. I don't get to talk socially anymore. I don't get to do anything else outside of that. And so when I got approached to do a radio interview by a nice gentleman on Instagram in my DMs, I said I would love to do it, but we're going to have to do it on my podcast because that's the only time I can talk. So with us today is Justin. Justin, where are you from again?
I am from Long Island, Nassau County, and I've been a fan of yours for so long, so it's such an honor to get to talk with you right now.
I'm so excited to talk to you. So you said that this interview is for...
It's for my college. I went to Nassau Community College, and I graduated from there a couple of years ago, and then I ended up, working there. And I have a show that kind of features pop culture, and I love talking about comedy, so I figured get one of the hottest rising stars in comedy who's been kicking ass for the last... No, you're up there.
Thank you so much, Justin.
No,
I
love being called... Oh, Ian, you take a back seat. Ian Fidance is here. Yes. But Justin is... So this will air on Justin's radio show. Justin, where can people find your radio show? What is it called?
It's called The Radio Rumble. It's on 90.3 WHPC. And, you were talking about having surgery. I had surgery a few years ago, and I've never talked about that on the radio. My surgery involved, I can't believe I'm saying this, it's called anal fistula surgery, and it was...
We know a lot about it, man.
It was...
I'm listening.
There's a guy right here, Mike...
It was the worst.
My podcast co-host Andrew Collin has anal fissures and had that same surgery, right?
Yes, I had the exact same surgery. Did they tear your tushy wider to help the fissure, which is weird?
No, so there's a difference between a fissure and a fistula. I've had fissures as well. But basically, it's no good. The bottom half is it's a mess.
I know what a fistula is because of an Oprah episode in the late 90s, early 2000s about women who in sub-Saharan Africa, for some reason, when they get like clitorectomies or something, they get fistulas, which are essentially holes.
That's how I got it.
What was going on? So you had a fistula, which is a hole, man.
So then the hole would like fill up. and it would just grow this like engorged sort of thing, and it would burst like every 3 or 4 years. This would happen
Oh man.
to the point where.
Justin.
So then eventually I was like, I need surgery on this, and I finally got it, and I've had no issues since. So it's been like 3 years.
That's
I
really
love-
interesting because, well, thanks for sharing
Yeah.
that. What, Ian?
I love how you toughed it out for 4 years of like, you know what? I got a hole
what
in my
I was
high
gonna
knee, and it's
Well, this is
bleeding
the
into my
thing.
I did
doorway.
this.
This is what people do. It is so rare that someone actually gets surgery when they need it or like addresses problems when they need it. It always becomes something that people address once it's gone past the point of no return. Like the only reason that I'm getting vocal cord surgery, I've been told for years, like, yeah, there's something going on. I went to go see a specialist. They told me I had polyps. They said I needed surgery, and then they were like, you don't need it today, but it's just like you just wait until it's so bad that you can't do
Yeah.
anything anymore. And the same thing for you, Andrew. Like it's just
Yeah, I had the Fisher stuff, and because what happens is like it comes and goes. So if anything comes and goes with anything in life, you're like, oh well, it's good for 4 days. I'm fine.
Yeah.
You know, if it's every day, and then it starts becoming more and more every single
Yeah.
day, and that's when you finally take care of
it's
it.
like anything. It's like alcoholism. It's like a drug addiction. Like it always starts like, oh, this is manageable. I can drain my fistula when it starts acting
Yeah.
up. Because I had a thing called a ranula. Look up a ranula. I think I've talked about it before. I used to chew so much gum because I had an eating disorder, and I would just chew gum in between meals to prevent myself from eating, that I got abrasions inside my mouth because of just like overuse, and it would callus and it would block my tongue duct, like my saliva
Your
duct,
tongula?
and it would. Ranula is Latin for bullfrog, like the bullfrog's like bubble, and so it would look like I had a bullfrog's bubble, and I would have to pop it with a needle, and I would do it all the time. I would do it at work, and I would just drain it because it was just like saliva inside of
but
it.
would you sterilize this needle?
I mean, I would like do with
Yeah,
a matte lighter, whatever that does. And over time, I started getting a callus on the thing itself because I was just stabbing it so much. So then by the time I went and got it done, it was so embarrassing because he goes, "What the hell have you been doing?" And so that's
You're
not
like that
why
radio
I
DJ
had-
in Long Island with
Yeah.
the fistula.
Well, this is not
Dude,
why I had
my-
Justin on the show. Justin wanted to interview me about my career, but I love that.
Speaking of a fistula,
this is so often what happens in interviews is that we will always go off topic and just start sharing things. And I'm glad you admit it because I'm sure there's listeners out there. I mean, I don't know. You probably have a couple dozen.
Yeah.
And I'm sure one of those knows someone who has experienced this or has some embarrassing kind of ailment that they're like, I've never told anyone. So I appreciate that. So let's begin the interview, I guess.
Yes.
good thing we didn't curse. We just talked about holes in our butts.
Oh yeah, one of our guidelines was that we can't curse because this is airing on terrestrial
Yes.
radio.
But I do want to thank you.
Ian, seriously, guys, don't. Justin's got a big course load of work.
It was all together.
At
I
NCC.
knew.
Yes.
Yeah.
He doesn't go there anymore, but he doesn't want to have to.
He
edit
still
this
hangs
thing,
around
like-
college kids.
Yeah.
though.
Justin. Okay, so you were saying about the Cardinals.
Yes, the Cardinals. Your Cardinals swept the Yankees, and I just want to thank you guys because I'm a Met fan, and I needed to have that for going into this week. I despise the Yankees, and you also this year did something with the Cardinals that I just found
Yeah.
out. It was Nikki Glaser Day. I guess at Busch Stadium, and is it still?
Yeah, you missed it.
And you threw out the first pitch.
Wait, the Yankees just got one of our guys. I know a little bit about sports, and all I know is that my driver the other day was like, Bader's going to the Yankees.
Yes.
And he's injured, so take him. Have fun. Harrison Bader, was a player for the Cardinals. Is he already, when they get traded, do they leave like the next day?
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it like
Literally.
a breakup where it's like, I'm moving out now,
He got a
Jonathan?
tattoo and left.
So he leaves. Because it would be so awkward if he had to like suit up the next day and everyone's like, you just
No,
decided
that
to leave.
is what happens.
So no, but I
Like-
mean like if he had to suit up with the Cardinals.
Oh, okay.
Like
yeah.
show up again. So he left. So he played the Cardinals this weekend.
Yeah, and they whooped the Yankees' ass, the Cardinals. But you threw.
Is that awkward?
I would assume it is. You're in the trenches with these guys. In their locker room for years, and then you just leave, but that's just what happens with sports. There, it's all about money, and there's no real loyalty in sports.
Well, Harrison Bader was living in our apartment complex, and I would see him riding his the scooter around, those little Lime scooters. And so when my sister and I went to the game one time, and he went up to bat, we just kept going, "Ride that line, Bader! Ride that line! Scoot that scooter, Bader! Scoot that scooter!" And so if Yankee fans or Mets fans want to harass him,
he's from New York. I think he's from the city or something.
Back.
Yeah, he's going back home.
All right. So yes, it was Nikki Glaser Day.
Is this hat backwards, or did you cut the brim off?
No, it's backwards. Rocking the backwards.
Okay. All right. I thought he cut. I thought it was a new style.
It could be. Maybe I'll bring that.
This doesn't look like a guy.
When you threw out that first pitch,
changing the trend.
How did you deal with that sort of pressure?
I'd rather talk about your fistulas again than my first pitch.
Hey, I'm all for that. I can talk about the fistula all day. That was
okay. When I threw out the first pitch, what do you want to know?
Like what difference as far as like anxiety is that like compared to going on stage?
So different because going on stage, that's something that I feel like I am an expert at this point. I feel like I've gotten my 10,000 hours, so I'm just very confident in that way. And throwing out the first pitch is the number one thing that I'm most insecure about. I'm not joking you. I would have rather threw out the first. I would have rather threw out the first fist into my in front. Oh wait, I can't say that. On home plate or wherever then threw out the first pitch. I would have rather done anything than any sports. But what the truth is of it, Justin, I was asked to throw out the first pitch because E was promoting my show, Welcome Home, Nikki Glaser. That has already not been picked up for a second season on E, so maybe it'll find a home elsewhere. Thanks a lot for everyone watching it, but it wasn't enough. And so, Tubi. So, yeah, find it on Tubi this fall.
To be canceled.
Yeah. So... And I love that they don't say canceled anymore. They're just like, they're not picking you up. And it's like, you mean canceled? This is my third show canceled, so I don't care literally at all. Do not send your condolences. Don't care. I'll be fine. But the thing about it is that I did not want to do it. I only threw out the first pitch because I was living every dream of my male friends who are just like, that's the coolest thing, you get to do that. And so I often say yes to things, Justin, that I don't want to do, but because it's someone else's dream and I know that they would kill for that opportunity, I do it for them. But I asked first if I could instead sing the national anthem, and they said that Robinson Elementary was already doing that gig, and that got booked 6 months out. They booked the first pitch 2 weeks out, and then they booked the national anthem a year in advance.
I mean, in her defense, though, Nikki did go all the way to the top of the mound. She went.
Yes.
Well, I didn't know you had a choice not to.
A lot of people just go from the grass.
No, first of all, no one gives you any direction. Did they let me warm up beforehand? No. Did they tell you anything? Literally nothing. You get nothing beforehand.
The pitch? How was the pitch?
It was bad. But I will say this: I did practice a lot before that pitch, and Andrew Collin is here to say that no matter what you see from that first pitch, will you tell people, based on what you thought I was capable of and what you think most girls who have never pitched in their life are capable of, what percentile do you put me in? If for girls my age who have never pitched in their lives.
I mean, in that case, top 1%.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, for someone that's never thrown, who claims to be the most unathletic person ever.
Right.
Who's 86 years old, who has no vocal cords.
Right.
I mean, you did gigantic bunions, Lou Gehrig's disease. Today.
So it was something I tried in practice, but it was something, Justin, that I had to let go of being too caring too much about, because if I cared too much about it, there was no world in which that was going to go well for me. There was just no world in which it was going to be something that I was going to be proud of, and so now it's something I don't even like to talk about it. And I'd like to move on actually to the next question, if you wouldn't mind, Justin.
It was better than Baba Booey, so I think you have that going.
Yeah, that is true, but that's not saying much. I think he threw it.
What a high
him.
bar.
Well, you mentioned the reality show, the Welcome Home, Nikki Glaser.
Yes.
Were you like weary of involving your family on a TV show like this? Because we've seen it before with like Hulk Hogan had his family and it went to shambles.
Right.
Were you like worried about you're going to Hulk Hogan your family and just like tear them apart?
You know, I wasn't. And that's a great question. And I've did so many interviews about the show and no one asked me that. And I think it's a great question because it wouldn't be one that I would even think to ask because it wasn't a question I even thought to ask myself before I did it. Because it does, if you look at the track record of what these shows do, like, you know, the Newlyweds, the Osbournes, it kind of like up their family. Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey, like literally every single family that's done a reality show, I don't think it's really done any good for them. And I will say that it, the interesting thing about it that I will say that I did not expect because I thought, you know, my family has a great connection that we're just doing this for fun. None of us really want to be famous. I already like have achieved that for myself. I'm not looking to get anything out of this that I don't already have. And none of them are looking to like steal the spotlight. The thing that did come up that was unfortunate was that in these like interviews where you get interviewed privately apart from the show, you know, you see these reality shows and then they'll cut they'll show a scene and they'll cut to a person talking about the scene and you always watch those scenes and you go, bitch, don't you know the person that you're talking about is going to watch this someday and you're going to have to like answer to that because
and who's
you know
bitch
them
in this circumstance?
like, you know, whatever Bachelorette or
I thought you were talking about like your own
Housewife.
Personal stuff.
No, like you just go, I always go, do you think they're not going to see this?
Yeah.
Like anyone on Below Deck, like, and I did have that happen to me where I saw interviews that my mom did or my dad did, or, you know, that, my boyfriend did, not really my boyfriend, but even that I did that I had to answer to after the fact where you just get in there and you say stupid stuff or it's a long day and you try to like give them whatever you think they're kind of like wanting you to say to shape the show. Not a lie, but just something that might be a little bit exaggerated. And then afterwards it airs and your mom's not talking to you for a couple days and you realize something's up and you finally go, what's going on? And she's like, you know what? I was really hurt by what you said on that. And then you go, Mom, I didn't mean, and then it's a whole thing. So, it did not hurt my family. Actually, it actually brought us a lot closer. And that conversation in particular that I had with my mom that she got upset about was, really good for us because it cleared the air, much like, you know, arguments often lead to like, oh, you're better than you were before.
Okay. Well, I am short of time. I had like 75 million questions I want to ask you.
Do you want to get one more question,
yes.
Justin?
Okay. So, what should we go with? Oh, I have an idea for a show. Maybe you could take this because, you know, you see.
That's not a question.
Well,
Yeah, you're just pitching now, Justin.
Okay, we won't use that one.
First pitch.
How about this?
Opportunity. It's better than mine.
So my question, this is like a basic question I'm sure comedians get all the time. But, you know, in this day and age, you know, I feel like everything is basically getting, it's harder and harder to push the envelope with content without receiving backlash. And I'm sure you've received backlash countless times for some of the raunchy stuff that you've said. Do you feel like this is only going to get worse? Do you feel like it's?
Did you hear Andrew's sigh when you asked that question? Andrew, do you know that your sighs are audible?
No.
Andrew just goes.
I said PC. I knew where it was going.
I mean, it's a good question, and you're right. Like, so what was the question again? Sorry, the end of the question.
Like, do you think this is only going to get worse, or do you think like it's cyclical? So maybe in like 10, 15 years, people aren't going to care as much.
Cyclical.
Like, it's not going to matter really.
I think. Yeah, I think it'll be cyclical, and I do think
chime
that
in?
I always. Yeah, please, Ian. What do you think? Ian Finance, everyone. If you're listening to Justin's radio show, you can listen to Ian's new podcast called Be an Ian, and it's now available everywhere you get podcasts. Ian Finance. What do you have to say about us?
Thank you. No, I just think the funniest part of this question is you think the world is going to exist in 10 to 15 years.
I know that's really is a good point. Yeah, I do think I don't think envelopes will even exist because everything's digital now, so there's no envelopes to push. And also, that's a great joke. Cut to meme of those dinosaurs blinking silently. So I always think I think that I always just say whatever I want to say because I am never trying to hurt anyone, and if I do, I usually apologize for it. And I think the problem is when people are like, I'm never gonna apologize. Never apologize for a joke. It's a joke. You take a joke. It's so and like so lame. Just if you hurt someone's feelings, does anyone really want to hurt someone's feelings? I mean, that is an insane thing to want to do.
I'm a comic. We don't apologize. And so what if I go to the bank in blackface? I'm not saying I'm sorry. I'm saying give me my cashier's check and let me get out of here.
That is a great James Acaster impersonation because that is exactly that bit that he does. Have you seen that? I'm a stand-up comedian. I tell jokes. If you can't take a joke, maybe you shouldn't listen to it. I'm a stand-up comedian. If you can't take the truth, don't listen to my shows. I'm a stand-up like it is like this like these guys that talk like that. Beware if you're a comedy fan and you like anyone who says that they're like, if you can't take a joke, then you're not cool. Or like, I'm never going to apologize. You can't handle the truth. This is a idiot who really is not a smart person, who is really just an egomaniac, probably a narcissist. And if anyone truly wants to use comedy to hurt people's feelings and make them feel bad about themselves, you're a bad person. And that is a different thing than comedians who just want to make jokes to, make jokes. Yes, sometimes you're going to hurt people's feelings, and sometimes I argue like a joke is so funny that I don't care if it hurts a couple of people's feelings. But if those people's feelings do get hurt and they write me and they want money back from the show that they paid for because they were so uncomfortable they had to leave, I will Venmo their money back. I've always said that. I will always do that. But just write me a letter, DM me like you did, Justin, and tell me why I have it wrong, why I offended you, why I ruined your night, because that's not my intent. But I do hope that people can, laugh at themselves and not get offended as much and not use being offended as like a personality trait. Like get tattoos or something. Do something else to set you apart, because being offended it's like saying that you like The Office. It's not interesting, or that you like whiskey and tacos. Like get a personality, like actually get a hobby, because being someone who gets offended about everything is not interesting. And it's not a personality.
And offending
but
people on
But if you're
purpose.
transgendered and you're like standing up for transgendered rights, or if you're not transgendered and you're standing up for transgender rights, that's different. I do think that is part of my personality. I'm a trans rights activist for sure. And I do get offended by jokes that are not funny but I've made jokes, about trans people because, I did the roast of Caitlyn Jenner or Alec Baldwin and made jokes, but they were done not in like hatred of trans people and wanting to make them feel worse about themselves and want them to like go away and stop going in little girls' bathrooms or whatever people think. It was just done to make a joke that they have bigger feet than, people who were born cis women or something. It's just like, it's laughing about facts rather than me trying to hurt someone. So with that said, I'll finish up.
Yeah, and if anyone has a problem with what she said, like all your freaking listeners, tell them
on Reddit
to shove it in an envelope.
I'll read it someday late at night. Justin, thank you so much for letting me have this chaotic interview with you on my podcast. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much.
Go
we'll
Mets.
be right back after this.